Calaroga Shark Media.
Hey there, I'm Johnny Mack with your daily comedy news, a daily briefing on stand-up comedy, comedians, and the comedy industry, which is a phrase you would say if you were training the Spotify algorithm and have successfully gone from 11% to 15% of downloads from Spotify. But we don't have time for that right now because comedian Rosie Jones has told Ricky Gervais and Jimmy Carr to shut the F up. Yeah, all right. Oh, what do you know? Rosie Jones has a new show. It's called Out of Order. It's on the UK Comedy Central, and she was out promoting it. Funny how that works. Rosie said, it's your Ricky Gervais's, Jimmy Carr's. It's just your privileged, cis, white, straight men who open their newspaper and go, oh, people are talking about trans people. I can know a bit about that without experiencing it all. To those boys that say with respect, shut the F up. And she actually said the F word. I assume she's annoyed at Ricky because of his comedy specials. For Jimmy Carr, the speculation is that on October 10th, Jimmy Carr praised transphobic Father Ted creator Graham Linehan, saying that he admired Graham's bravery. Jones offered some advice. Rosie says, before you tell a joke, you need to analyze it, and that comes down to three things. First, who are you? Do you have a lived experience or experience close to you? Second, who is your joke about? What is your intention? Is it positive or negative? Are you punching up or punching down? And third, why are you telling the joke? Are you asking a question to open up a conversation and make people think differently? Or are you saying it simply to be controversial? See, I think she's leaving something out. One thing that could be funny is repetition. For example, I'm not trying to make a point at all when I point out that one time Joe Coy told this horrible mean joke about Taylor Swift. Here, let's listen.
On the Golden Globes, we have fewer camera shots of Taylor Swift.
I'm not punching up or down. Maybe I'm punching up at Taylor there, but it's just funny. The Critics' Choice Awards are a thing, and Chelsea Handler was your host. She mocked Leonardo DiCaprio. Oh, by the way, over the weekend I watched that One Battle After Another movie. Kind of fun. Chelsea mocked Leo for spending New Year's Eve aboard a, quote, $500 million super yacht with one of the richest men in the world. Chelsea joked Leo almost didn't make it tonight because he was trapped on a boat in St. Bart's. It was just like the Titanic, but worse because Jeff Bezos was there. DiCaprio was shown laughing at the jokes, which is something you could do. You know, if somebody's hosting an award show and somebody makes a joke, you could just laugh at the joke, Taylor. It's okay. It reminds me, I forgot to Google Nikki Glaser as part of the show prep. Here's how the show works. I go to Google and I type in Nikki Glaser and I type in this news tab and I find this story on the fly. Nikki Glaser reveals which jokes she's avoiding while hosting the 2026 Golden Globes, an exclusive from People. Okay, I'm doing this on the fly. Nikki says, there's lots to joke about this year, and the star power in the room is going to be bigger than ever. I mean, it's bigger than last year. I kind of have to keep wrapping my head around the kind of people that are going to be in the room. I mean, Leo's vape pen is going to be there. So excited to see that. There's going to be some big, big hitters in the room, and there's podcasts this year, which is also going to be a hilarious thing to joke about. Nikki says Leo is at the top of her list of what to avoid. I don't think I'm going to go with the Leo jokes we've heard 25 times. I think we've heard all that, and that's been done enough. My goal is always to not do what's expected, only to try to challenge myself to not say things that people are going to expect and try something else. She said hosting 2025 was without a doubt the most fun I've ever had in my career. I can't wait to do it again, and this time in front of the team from the White Lotus, who will finally recognize my talent and cast me in season 4 as a Scandinavian Pilates instructor with a shadowy past. Golden Globes this Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern, which means Johnny Mack has to work late on a Sunday night. Life is rough. I'll have to watch football with a laptop out and pull clips on the fly, and then during halftime record the first 4 minutes of the Daily Comedy News podcast for Monday, and then add in what I had already pre-taped. Whew. Podcasting is a tough business, my friends. Anyway, Nikki, whatever you do, don't make a horrible, mean joke about Taylor Swift. I digress. We were talking about the Critics' Choice Awards. Remember that? Chelsea Handler was hosting it. Remember that like 3 minutes ago? Yeah. We'll just focus on the comedy parts. Best Comedy, The Naked Gun. Best Comedy Series, Hollywood loves to pat themselves on the back. The incredibly overrated The Studio. Best Actor in an incredibly overrated comedy series, Seth Rogen. Best Actress, Comedy Series, Jean Smart. Hacks, good pick. Best Supporting Actor in an incredibly overrated comedy series, Ike Barinholtz for The Studio. Best Supporting Actress Comedy Series, Janelle James for Abbott Elementary. Best Animated Series, South Park. Best Talk Show, Jimmy Kimmel Live. Best Variety Series, Last Week Tonight with John Oliver. Best Comedy Special, SNL 50, The Anniversary Special. As for Jimmy Kimmel, he had this to say.
I want to thank our president, Donald Jennifer Trump, without whom we would be going home empty-handed tonight. So thank you, Mr. President, for all the many ridiculous things you do each and every day. It's been a banner couple of weeks, and we can't wait to get back on the air tomorrow night to talk about them. Thank you, everyone.
Two of the presenters, Sebastian Maniscalco, teamed up with Marcello Hernandez. Quote, putting on a comedy clinic, unquote. Are you kidding me? Listen to me. I'm getting very serious here for a second. We have a drug problem in America, and people are taking crack, and then they're reviewing things. This is the thing. I know this is shocking, and hopefully the President of the United States will focus on the crack problem, which is just increasingly affecting the comedy review community. Now, I have a clip for you. In terms of star power, name power, there was a universe where I would have let off with this Sebastian Maniscalco, Marcello Hernandez clip. However, it's so bad, I knew that I would lose listeners, so I had to bury it here 7 minutes into the podcast, because if I put this at the top, any casual listener who came by would be like, this podcast is awful. Now, we all know the podcast is awful, but it's not this awful. Here, let's listen.
Hello, everyone. This is very exciting, right? The fashion on the red carpet was on another level tonight. A lot of fashion tonight.
A lot of fashion, a lot of filler. Matter of fact, we just got word backstage, Los Angeles is completely out of filler.
And I'm like, don't change your face. I like your face. You got a good face. Why would you do that?
You know, Marcello, it's a beautiful evening to be here with everybody. Great actors here tonight. Fantastic, right? A few of you have won. A lot of you have lost. And everybody's got a winning speech, but nobody's got a ready-to-lose face, all right? Now, Marcello, do you have a ready-to-lose face?
Yeah, I think if I was nominated and I lost, I would probably do something like, I don't even care about this. I don't care about this.
I mean, that's brutal. Some people are smoking crack and going on social media. One person said, I love them together. Please make this a regular thing. Off that clip, what do you love there? Another, possibly, perhaps, maybe smoking crack, jumping on TikTok, wrote, they need to host the Oscars. You want Sebastian Maniscalco and Marcello Hernandez to host the Oscars? Are you kidding me? What happened to Conan O'Brien? Was he hit by a meteor? Was Jimmy Kimmel deported? Is Nikki Glaser unavailable? Is Joe Coy not around? Marcello Hernandez? What are you insane? Marcello does have a comedy special coming out this week. It'll be on Netflix tomorrow. Usually Netflix puts out specials on Tuesday. I don't know why they waited to Wednesday on this one. Maybe they wanted everybody to settle back into work so they could do the press. I'm not sure. But 24 hours from now, we'll be able to see if Marcello Hernandez could do anything other than Domingo and variants on Domingo and possibly sort of doing Sebastian Maniscalco impressions. Marcello was on the red carpet. He was asked about Saturday Night Live. He said, I'm having fun, bro. It's a crazy job and you get to meet so many crazy people and I love it. As for Bowen Yang's departure, I look at it like sports, you know, there's a guy that put up numbers. He had a distinct voice and everybody loves him. And it's for a reason. He's a hard worker. I saw him behind the scenes grinding every week. That's a guy to learn from for sure. Bowen Yang has yet another gig. He and Matt Rogers will host a 15-episode Winter Games edition of Las Culturistas as part of NBC's Winter Olympics coverage. WWE plans to maintain its relationship with Tony Hinchcliffe, according to Fightful Select, your home for comedy news. This despite the cancellation of the SummerSlam late night show that was scheduled last year. You may recall Tony Hinchcliffe was set to host the late night show during SummerSlam weekend, August 2nd. However, the event was canceled about a week before it was supposed to take place. He did host the controversial Roast of WrestleMania in April, which I don't think they aired, right? Sources within the WWE say they plan to collaborate with Tony Hinchcliffe again at some point, although the specifics of the collaboration are currently unknown. Hannah Berner will get a Hilarious special in 2026. No title or synopsis yet, but I'm sure the Hulu publicist will get that information out there. Hulu's really, really good about promoting their specials, so I'm sure I'll have something in my inbox any second. 2026 Comedian of the Year, Gianmarco Cerezi. Should I just start calling him that and see if I'm right? Should I just do that like all year, like wire to wire, just always say the full phrase? 2026 Comedian of the Year, Gianmarco Ceresi. Should I do it? Well, the 2026 Comedian of the Year, Gianmarco Ceresi, is heading to Tokyo. Oh no, I forgot how time zones work. He's in Tokyo. He's probably actually performed by the time you hear this because of the way time zone works. Timeout.com asked 2026 Comedian of the Year, Gianmarco Ceresi, what can people expect from this tour? And the Comedian of the Year said everything from Thief of Joy is retired, so it's going to be some material that I've been fine-tuning for the last couple of years. 80% of the show will be really polished material, but there's going to be some crowd work and some new topical stuff too, since I'm traveling to a continent I've never been to. That's why I'm going to Tokyo for 2 weeks before the show, so that I'll have time to soak in the culture and take in new jokes. Gianmarco's hoping to film a special this year. If you're in Tokyo, he's at the British pub Good Havens on January 7th. The Comedian of the Year told Timeout.com, I know a couple comedians have been to Japan, and from what I've been told, I'm sure it's going to be a different experience in terms of the way audiences respond or how they do crowd work. I watched the subtitle versions of other countries' local stand-up, and I know in some ways that stand-up is newer there. I think the key to good crowd work is to have legitimate curiosity. I think I'm going to really have that when I'm talking to locals there, and it usually creates fun comedic moments. He talked about scaling up, explaining touring internationally is not easy. When I went to Europe for the first time, I was like, can we do this? How are ticket sales going to be? I think what's different now is that I built a company and I finally have an infrastructure, so I could have waited a little longer. But I think you grow so much as an artist, experiencing a different culture and seeing how your jokes play out, and I want to have an international reach. That's why the tour is ambitious. Comedy Survivor Week 1 is underway. Join us in the Facebook group, Daily Comedy News Podcast Group. Find the little cartoon of Comedy Survivor in that thread. Give the name of the person you want to vote off. I don't want to steer the conversation, but last time I looked, Amy Schumer, Jay Leno, and Joe Coy had received some votes. Voting continues until end of day Thursday. Here's a new movie. It's called Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Shark. Yes, an indie horror comedy. The story centers on Dr. Jekyll, a broken and isolated man shattered by the loss of his wife. He experiments with an untested drug called sharkopene. I love this already. You see, sharkopene is an untested drug that warps his body into a bloodthirsty man-shark. Now driven by madness and love from beyond the grave, Jekyll prowls the streets, says Marcello Hernandez is funny, and hunts anyone who threatens his twisted relationship with his long-dead bride. Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Shark out January 20th. Looking forward to that. Amy Schumer likes when we talk about her, and she went on Instagram and shared a collection of makeup-free photos taken before and during a recent getaway and included many images of Amy Schumer modeling bikinis and other swimwear from a particular brand. Schumer captioned the post, "My mom took these photos of me while I was packing for a trip, and the last photo I'm on the trip. This year is about self-care and self-love. Let's all appreciate our health, our families, our friends, and have the best year of our lives, moving forward with no regrets, just love." And the Toronto Guardian wrote about comedian Blair Williams. Blair is influenced by folks like Don Rickles, Robin Williams, and Richard Pryor. Blair going a little old school. His style blends personal stories with resilience. Blair uses a wheelchair and says, "I like to challenge perceptions, using humor to disarm and educate the audience while keeping things light and funny. My comedy influences go way back to when I was a kid, watching Rickles, Carson, Pryor, Carlin, Tim Conway, Robin Williams, Red Skelton, and Eddie Murphy. In my teenage years, I gravitated towards Mike Myers, Chris Farley, and Adam Sandler. I like this guy like a second ago. Now I find inspiration in the styles of Bill Burr." You know, Bill Burr played the Riyadh Comedy Festival. I don't know if you remember that. Joey Diaz, who some people say is the worst person on the planet. Yeah, I've heard people say that if you ever run into Joey Diaz in real life, he's the biggest a-hole you'll ever meet and just a horrible, horrible person. I've heard people say that about Joey Diaz. I digressed. Shane Gillis, Tony Hinchcliffe, Mark Normand, and Adam Ray. Blair Williams says, "I also have to give a big shout out to Josh Blue and Jared Nathan, who continue to shape my comedic journey today. Rickles had sharp wit, Carlin's boundary pushing insights, and Robin Williams' incredible energy and improvisation all had a huge impact on me. I've gravitated towards Josh Blue for years because I believe his philosophy of using self-deprecation leads to strength. As for Jared Nathan, I discovered him while stuck in bed with COVID during the pandemic. I came across his appearance on Kill Tony and was immediately struck by how much fun he was having on stage. It reignited my passion for comedy, and I started writing again right away." They asked him his favorite bit of a spoiler here. "My favorite bit has to be the one where I talk about how I got hurt and what that caused. I use a mix of misdirection and shock with a dark punchline at the end. What I love most about it is the versatility. I've got multiple endings for the same setup, so I can keep the audience on their toes and surprise them every time. It's rewarding because it always gets a big laugh, and I love watching people's reactions when they realize where the joke is headed." All right, Blair Williams, where do you find new comedy these days? Blair says, I wait every Monday to watch Kill Tony. It's a blast watching new comics get their shot and seeing what they bring to the table. Beyond that, podcasts, Joe Rogan, Theo Vaughn, Matt and Shane. Podcasts are a great way to find new voices and get to know comics on a personal level. And that is your comedy news for today. All right, go to the Facebook group. Vote for Comedy Survivor. You're voting someone off the island. The group is a daily comedy news podcast group. See you tomorrow.